What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Steel, and you guys are going to learn something today. Well, I don't really know if you're going to learn something today, but we're going to bullshit. I can tell you that. Didn't want to make a mess all over the table, get the table wet, and the cut test on it, and them damn fibers stick everywhere. I'm using one of my wife's garbage towels. If she caught me using her good towel, she'd be pissed. Anyways, we're just going to do this on good old King 300, and I don't know. We'll take it to wherever seems fit. Let me just grab this flattening stone real quick. Give me one sec. Yeah, I want to touch this stone up real quick. Reface it real fast. But yeah, I'm just gonna sharpen some 7CR. And if y'all seen the cut test, that Sumo did a really good job in the cut test for 7CR. Just get some texture back to the stone. Okay, go rinse that off real quick. Sorry, I know I could have did that before the video started, but I want you guys to see the process. So, yeah, that 7CR from that Sumo right there did damn good in the cut test for 7CR. Actually, quite impressive to be honest. So we're gonna, that edge is, I've used it some more. Nothing serious, but you know, just cut down a lot of cardboard and stuff with it. Cut up a whole bunch of some foam sheeting that's really brutal on edges. So after the cut test, plus doing that and a couple strop backs, it's still good and sharp back here, but from about here forward, you know, it's just not, still sharp, but not great. We're going to go ahead and kill this edge. That edge be dead now. Let's do it. So we got some, you know, with that flattening stone, even though the stone's perfectly flat, we got some texture back to it. Considering this 300 is not no super fast cutting stone by any means, or you know, it does, it's nowhere near a 300. You know, I love it when you got a crisp bevel that's, and like you can feel it just lock against that stone so perfect. Like there's no wondering where you're at. Bam, that is the angle of this knife. You can feel it, grab it, and lock against it. When you got that, you know you did a good job on this knife because your bevel is so perfectly flat. It's beautiful. I love it, love it, love it. So we're gonna use that bevel to our advantage and feel it lock against the stone. Bingo, there's our angle. Let's see now, some texture on the stone from that silicone carbide block. It's going to cut more aggressively. And I'll tell you, you know, a lot of people say you can't hold a perfectly flat bevel, and I mean, you can't. It's impossible to hold it perfectly flat. It's physically impossible. Um, but they'll say you can't hold it, that you're going to have convexing to a notable degree. That you're going to, that's bullshit. I can hold an angle. I can hold an angle flat enough, consistent enough that I have, for all intensive purpose, a flat V bevel with so little convexing that you won't feel it. Like you're going to feel a flat surface kiss this flat surface. People will argue with you all day long till you can't, but you most certainly can. Bam, right there. Bam, right there. Bam, right there. Like, two flat surfaces locking together. That's not convex. People will argue with you until you're blue in the face, saying, it's impossible, but no, it's not. They think it's impossible because they can't do it because they haven't invested the time. You spend time, you spend quality practice time and enough of it, and eventually you'll be able to hold an angle so consistently that you will not create any noticeable convexing. Oops. Bumped the scale just then. Okay. We have a beautiful, beautiful, consistent burr, about the size I want it, from heel to tip. Actually, I'm going to work that tip slightly more. The shape of it from the factory was kind of funky. The shape of it from the factory was a little bit funky, so in the first sharpening, I didn't get it all out. I'm going to try to get it out on this one and get a perfectly formed tip. Okay. Hey, there we go. Okay. Now we got a nicely formed tip. None of this bullshit where it's kind of formed well, but kind of funky. Now we got a perfect tip. That's what I wanted to see. Again, we have a nice flat bevel. You know what? Got to get a little bit back there at the where the edge terminates. Remember when I said I think I bumped the scale? I didn't. I forgot during that first sharpening, that termination, the end of the edge was shaped funky, and it was very low. So when I felt it dip, it wasn't me bumping the scale that caused me to dip. It was this. See how that's shaped differently? Now that's a prime example of what I mean by being able to feel what's going on the stone. I felt that make me change my angle just ever so slightly. And I thought that was me bumping the scale. But it wasn't. It was that misgrind right there actually causing me to just dip ever so slightly. I see when you get very good at holding an angle and being very consistent, you will feel things like that. Even that teeny little spot, just having that angle difference caused me literally caused me to be able to feel the knife move differently than I was expecting it to. It was very minor, but it was enough that it made me think I hit, that I bumped the scale. I didn't. With as far away as it is from the scale, I was kind of wondering, like, how? I get it. I know why now. I see this side's much better. It has it a little bit, but it's better. Okay. And a nice defined burr. And see, now I'm going to show you the cowl. That is a very flat bevel. You'll see how it throws light. You see, it doesn't look rounded because it's not. If it was convexed, you would be able to see it in the way it throws that light as I move it. That's flat as you're going to get on a fixed angled system, a quality fixed angled system. And that is the goal. You want to get to where you can hold an angle that consistently. When you reach that point, then you are going to be a top-notch sharpener. And it takes a while. Don't get me wrong. It's going to take a while, but let's see. This one I got to feel for a little more. Right there, right there. Got it. It's going to take a while. But if you practice and you practice good, meaning every single stroke you try on, you're not, if you're just practicing and you're going fast and you're not doing a good job, you're not trying to do a good job, you're just trying to go fast, well, that practice is a waste of time. And in fact, all it's doing is hurting you. You want your practice for every single stroke to be as important as it is on the very last stroke you're going to make on the stone. Like the one that either will destroy your edge or finish your edge. Every single pass, you want that level of concentration and that level of trying. If you do that, you will learn quickly to become a very good sharpener. That's the number one tip I tell people. In sharpening in anything, this long range rifle shooting, you get a lot of young kids. It's very, very popular sport now. Long range, extreme long range. You get these kids that come out there and they bring 300 rounds with them, 300 hand loads, and they come out there and they just send lead, and they just until they hit. They don't pull. Every trigger pull is not like that shot means something to them. For me, when I'm out shooting long range or ELR, extreme long range, every time I pull that trigger, even if it's dry fire practice, I treat that trigger pull like it is a competition I'm shooting, and that shot is for the match. Okay? I practice everything that way. That's how I work. Um, the old saying, perfect practice makes perfection is a fact. Practice practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And that is a fact. So, anything I do, I'm doing it with 100% of my concentration and my full skill level. I do not half ass. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go out there on the range and take in 1,000-yard shot and, at a 1 MOA plate and, or a half MOA plate, in a 15 mile an hour, 90-degree wind with gusts to 25. Every time I pull that trigger, it is going to be like that shot is determining a match. Okay. When I'm sharpening, now I'm at the level where I can fuck off a little bit and it's not going to hurt me, but I don't do it much. I will do it occasionally if I'm just trying to get a quick edge for you guys or whatever the case. That's different. When I'm sitting down and I'm sharpening, I am sharpening at 100% of my skill level, like right now. Or, if I'm just doing a quick edge to say we do a cut test and the knife doesn't do what I expect it to, and I put a quick edge on it and go back to the cut test. Yeah, I'm not putting 100% into that edge. But I'm still doing a good edge, but I'm not putting 100% into it. But when I'm sitting down sharpening like this and I'm talking to you guys, I am putting 100% into this edge. If you follow that advice, and every time from the very first time you get on the stones until you become a professional, every pass, treat it like you have an edge that is just about to whittle hair with the grain. A premium, just sharp as you can get it. Pretend that pass that you're making right now is like the final pass that you would make on that edge that'll whittle hair with the grain. Okay. You treat every pass like that. No, that way every pass is with a high level of concentration and you're learning. If you're just sharpening, you're not learning. If you're just going, trying to figure out, okay, this time, is it going to be able to slice paper? Am I going to get a paper slicing edge this time? If you're just doing that, you aren't learning. In fact, you are teaching you are downloading poor muscle memory that's going to hurt you down the line. If you start out, see, this did become educational. If you start out trying, like, every stroke matters, every single pass you make matters. If you treat it like that, you will learn much quicker, and more importantly, you will not download bad habits. If you're just going and then, man, I wonder, is this edge going to be able to, am I going to get a paper slicing edge this time? Am I going to be able to get an edge that'll shave? And that's all you're worried about, and you're just going and hoping. Okay, you're literally downloading bad habits. And the more you do it, the harder those habits will become to break down the line. Once that muscle memory set in, it will be much more difficult to break that habit, the bad habits, than it will be to teach yourself good, proper habits to start with. Make sense? So every pass you make it like it is the most important pass you're ever going to make when sharpening. Okay. This pass right here, hair on there. This pass right here, I'm making this pass as if it's my finishing pass on an edge that I'm trying to get as sharp as I physically can get it. Okay. Every one of these passes are at that level of concentration. And that also will teach you to not make mistakes. Okay. Go see, now I almost made a mistake. Putting that knife down like that was stupid, because when I went like this, almost it might have got me actually. I felt it grab me. Anyways, but it will teach you to not make mistakes on the stones. It will teach you to just, when you're on the stones, to be a robot, to be dead consistent every pass. And that is what, in sharpening, that is what you want. You want to be as close to a robot as you can. Every pass exactly the same. Going fast and dialing in bad habits into your form that are going to kick your ass later down the line when you do start to get better, and you're going to have a fucking hard time breaking those bad habits. Okay. You can avoid that. You can avoid that altogether by from the very start, every pass like it is the most important pass you're ever going to make. If you approach sharpening like that, instead of it taking you a year to get to where you can get shaving quality edges straight off the stone consistently, I would say realistically, maybe now it's 3 or 4 months if you're doing, if you're sharpening a lot. Versus if you're sharpening a lot, a year, if you're just kind of going at it and hoping. And another thing, and I said this many times, and I mean this very much, do not pick it. How do I put this? Okay. If you're going to, we all, well, I don't really watch much knife content, but most of you guys watch all, a lot of people. Okay. A lot of which are sharpeners. Now here's the thing. And this is going to be one of the second best piece of advice I can give you. I just give you the first best piece of advice. Perfect practice makes perfect. Every stroke you ever make, try as hard as you can. Number one most important thing is that. Number two, and this is something I tell a lot of people, and some people, they don't want to hear it. And it winds up fucking them up, and then, a year later we talk again and they say, hey, you're right. Sorry, I keep getting up. It's a little warm in here. So this piece of advice I give them, and some of them take it and some of them don't. And a lot of times the ones that don't, I'll talk to them later on and they'll be like, hey, you know what? I wish I'd listened to you. I was like, I know. You know why I know? Because I wouldn't have told you if I knew it wasn't right. Say you watch 10 different sharpeners, right? Now I'm not talking to your highly skilled sharpeners right now. I'm talking to your beginners, brand new to sharpening, to beginners, to even like intermediates. You can watch 20 different sharpeners. That's fine. Listen to one of them. The one that you like their style the best. Listen to that sharpener. Doesn't matter who it is. Me, Jared, Imler, whoever. Doesn't matter. You pick the person that you like their style the best, and you listen to what they say and you implement that. You do not implement ideas from every different sharpener you watch, because all that will do is fuck you up. Things that Jared does, I may not do. He may you listen to Jared, and that's who you like, and you're learning from him, and now you start watching me and you start to implement some things that I say into your sharpening, into how you sharpen. And Jared, does not sharpen that way. The things I say might make sense to you and sound like they're gonna, better you, but they may be a big detriment to you. And the reason is because things I do are I have a different way of creating a sharp edge than Jared does. Jared has a different way of creating a sharp edge than I do. And that goes for every sharpener out there. It does not matter who it is. We all sharpen differently. Even if we sharpen 95% the same, that 5% difference can be drastic. Okay. So things that pick your sharpener, pick who you like the best as far as how they make content, the style of sharpening, how they sharpen, whatever. The person that you like the best, you pick that person and listen to what they say, and you follow them. You follow what they tell you to do. The ideas that they give you, you follow that. Do not go and listen to everybody, and next thing you know, you're implementing 15 different people's ideas into your sharpening. Because all that's going to happen is going to kick your ass. It's going to hurt you. It's not going to help you. It's going to start teaching you things that you're going to build into muscle memory that before long are going to be programmed into you, and they're going to be very difficult to break after you've done them for a while, and then you realize, hey, you know what? This isn't working. And now you've already set that in and you've programmed it, and now it's very difficult to erase that program. You pick a sharpener. I'm going to bring that burr up a little more at the hilt. It's a little finer right now than I want it. But yeah, you see that damn low spot in that edge termination is going to aggravate the shit out of me. So yeah, you basically you pick your sharpener and you follow them and listen to them and implement what they say if that's the style of sharpening you want to do, okay? Because implementing other people's stuff into, I call it, when people do that, I call them like Heinz 57 sharpeners. They got 57 different ingredients in their and how they sharpen, and from 57 different people, and it just don't work. Yeah, it just don't work. Pick your sharpener, stick with them, implement what they say, and then as you get better, now you can start implementing things that seem to work for you, that you come up with. It's just don't go listening to every sharpener and trying to imitate and add in what they're saying and mimic them, because you're just going to create problems for yourself. Find that sharpener you like and stick with them, and as you get better, then you can start exploring and changing. Okay, we're looking real good. And then you can start to, you know, dial in your own and become your own sharpener. You but in that learning phase, you don't want to blend a bunch of people's ideas and how they sharpen into one sharpening, you know, ability. You want you want to build, you want to learn sharpening at you want to learn the basics, and you want to learn to sharpen at a good level before you start incorporating other ideas you hear other people say. That way, hey, this doesn't work. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm gonna continue to do this, or I'm not liking this. I'm not gonna do this. You'll be good enough to know if you should add it in or not. And the problem is when you're beginning, you won't know you won't know if you should add it in or not. Because you don't know what you're looking for. And then if you shouldn't have added it in, you're going to have a hard time uninstalling it. Make sense? I hope that's coming across. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, but there's it, well, there's just everybody has their own style, and you don't want to try to blend too many styles together at once, especially not when you're learning. And I'm not telling you who to listen to. I'm not telling you to listen to me. I'm not telling you to listen to Jared. I'm not telling you to listen to anybody. Because at the end of the day, we're all good. None of us are perfect. And, you know, we can all create very sharp knives. But none of us are really, once you reach a certain level, that's kind of it. None of us are going to be much different than the other as far as what we can do. That's just the way it is. You know, some people might choose to argue and no, that's not okay, but that's bullshit. You'll reach a certain point, you can get the knife so sharp, and that's about it. And anybody that's at, you know, Jared, mine, Imler's, Christy, etc., at the level we're at, those any one of us is going to create a razor sharp knife at any time. But you know, nobody's really better than the other. Some people might want to act like they're better, but they're not. If I had to pick one, you know, if I had to pick one sharpener to say, hey, in the pocket knife world, you know, in the super steel world, I would pick, if I had to say who's the best, I'd probably pick Michael. Well, not probably. I'd pick Michael Christie. Yes, the way it is. If I was going to say, if any of, you know, the top notch sharpeners, if any is better than the others, Christie's who it is. And you know, is he going to be much better than the rest? No, but I do believe he is a little better. Past that, say everybody, the top tier sharpeners are all grouped about the same. That it is what it is. Some people, it's going to have try to sit there and act like, no, I'm the best, or, maybe won't say that, but they try to put it out there that way. And I'm sorry, but that's just not true. Once you reach the level to where you intimately understand sharpening, you can maintain an extremely consistent bevel, angle. You can maintain a very flat bevel. Once you reach that point, and you have the abrasives and an understanding of how to use the abrasives, once you reach that point, you're all going to be about the same. Nobody's going to really be much better than the other, if better at all. But it is what it is. Some people's going to argue that. I don't really care. The ones that do, they think, oh yeah, I'm the best. Fuck them. They're just saying that's just a complex. They know they're not no better than the rest, and it's like a fixed angle guys sitting there, and who's the best fixed angle sharpener? Is there? Yes, there's very large differences in fixed angle sharpeners. But once a fixed angle guy reaches that, they have a intimate knowledge of sharpening and their systems and their abrasives. Once they reach that level, they're all going to be about the same. Nobody's going to be better than the other. Initially, yes, there'll be differences, but you take 20 highly skilled fixed angle sharpeners, and they're going to be the same. They're all the same. Nobody can really create a sharper edge than the other. Nobody's better. The same thing with freehand. There's just less of us. But, Christy is probably who I would say is the best, and that skill gap from him to the rest of us, it's very little, but it is there. I do believe he's actually a better sharpener than the rest of us. Sean Houston, all the other big names, and we're all going to be about the same. And Christy's going to be just slightly above us. But yeah, I know I got off on a tangent just then, but it's just how it is, and you'll reach that if you invest the time and you follow the, make every pass count like it's the most important pass you're going to make. If you follow that, you'll be one of the elites in no time, not much time. Maybe 2-3 years, you could reach, kind of a top tier level. It takes a long time. It's definitely not fast. You're not going to learn it in 6 months. I'll tell you that. You can get very good in 6 months, but you're not going to get, you're not going to get to be a world-class sharpener in 6 months. Not freehand anyways. I'm not trying to, make anybody not want to get into it. It's an amazing hobby, but it's a hobby that takes time. Once you reach that level, that's, you'll be proud as hell, because it is not easy. It is a skill that few people have. And it's fun, man. It's fun. Okay, so I've been blabbering like normal. But, I really do hope that y'all follow what I'm saying, especially any guys that are just getting into it. Even intermediate, just pick your sharpener and listen to them, and don't start going and applying stuff that every other, this sharpener says this, you start trying to apply that. This sharpener says this, you start to try to apply this. Just don't do that. It will hurt you vastly more than it helps you. We all have our own styles and things that work for us. We've learned over years of doing this. And things that work for me may not work for the next sharpener, and so on and so forth. So it's very important to pick that guy and stick with him. Listen to what he says. As you get better, you'll reach a point to where you know, okay, this sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna add this in and see how it goes. Okay, that seems to work. I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Okay, I'm gonna quit that right now. You'll understand sharpening enough to be able to do that. And then, you're not gonna just prolong it and cause yourself problems by, again, downloading muscle memory that you don't want. See, now, even though this 7CR cut tested very well for 7CR, I can tell that this is just not all that great of a piece of steel, even though it performed very well in the cut test, because right now that burr is definitely not getting any weaker. It's not trying to pop loose. I'm weak. I'm trying to weaken that burr right now, and it's just not having it. Probably retained austenite in here. Enough retained austenite that is creating a really gummy burr that just does not want to let go. Okay. Let's see where we're at right now. I'm going to say I am nowhere close to deburred. I probably have a quite refined burr, quite small. Should cut nicely. See the burr? See that rough? That's burr. Okay. So the burr is definitely refined down, but it is not wanting to let go, which, on steels like this, that's just kind of part of the game. So what we're going to do, we're going to make some edge leading deburring passes with lighter and lighter pressure. Being very careful to stay at exactly sharpening angle. I can feel and hear the burr getting smaller right now. Pieces of it probably breaking off. I don't see no larger pieces breaking off. Okay. Let's see where we're at. We should be better than we was, but I can guarantee you that we are not going to actually be clean the burr. Exactly. They're still there. So I can pretty clean a burr back here. Can push cut. But there's definitely a lot of burr on this edge. Yep. Okay, now we got to take care of that. No problem. I could go ceramic if I wanted to. Get that burr off there pretty easily. Let's go 5 micron, but we're not going to. We're going to go stroppy strop. We're going to go at exactly sharpening angle. Very light pressure, of course. Now we should be pretty well free of burr. Beautiful. Still feel a little bit. I still feel a little bit. See it? Okay. All right. There's definitely burr on here. Here's where we're at. Got that tip pretty good. Not perfect. Still. Yeah, see, I can still feel burr on here. Let's hop over to the 7.5. And that's one part of these cheap steels, cheap knives. Sometimes, and a lot of times, they just do not want to let go of that burr. They just do not want to let go of that fucking burr. Just don't take it off. We'll go to 15 micron. That will take it off. See, it's got a sticky ass burr. It's making me make a lot more stropping passes than I would like to make. I do not like having to make this many stropping passes because now this edge is not going to have as much bite as I want. But feel the burr don't want to come off. See, now what I should have did, I should have. If I knew it was going to be that stubborn, I would have just did it on ceramic. What do you know? Okay, so now we got a clean edge. Yeah, if I would have knew it was going to take that much to drop, I would have just went either straight to 15 micron or just took it off with a ceramic. But now, very, very sharp edge. Very, very sharp edge. Very, very, very sharp. Yeah. Okay, so here's where we're at. But see, I've got a very, very, very keen edge, but I don't have the bite that I wanted. Still got good bite, but not as much as I wanted. Off that 1200, I was expecting quite a bit of bite because those king stones do a very good job of keeping putting a lot of bite in the edge. So I was expecting definitely more bite than that, but because having to make much more stropping passes than I expected, I definitely lost some of my bite. Now again, very keen, like it catches my fingers really nicely. Like it just grabs that skin, but it just don't have the high level of toothiness that I wanted. Which, if I would have just hopped over to like a Spyderco extra fine, I could have got that burr off much easier. Couple passes, cut the burr off, and then not had to strop that much, which in turn takes some of my bite away. So, it's a give or take. But what I ended up with is an edge that, it's not as high a bite, but it's extremely keen. That's a very, very, very sharp edge. I would have rather had the bite, but at the expense of some of that keenness, but it is what it is. No big deal. Edge is going to perform great either way. And this was more just to talk to you guys, and I really hope y'all listen to what I said, and implement that to only listen and implement when sharpeners what they're telling you. Don't become a Heinz 57 sharpener. It will hurt you in the long run, I guarantee it. So save yourself some trouble and just don't do it. So, anyways, that's good old Sumo. Performed good in the cut test, but that is not a very nice sharpening piece of steel right there. I'll say that. Like, it definitely did not want to give up that burr. So there it is. And I hope y'all enjoyed that. So y'all have a good night. It was fun.